Well, fans, the middle of January might seem an odd time of year to kick off a basketball season, but around these parts, we just don't care. We're just excited, nay, over the moon to get back to the business of playing some college basketball and having some fun along the way. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to game number 2 of this 2-night home opening engagement of St. Martin's men's basketball. Alongside Saints Director of Athletic Communications, Austin Burns, I'm Jeff Lucero. Happy and thankful to be here with you for the second live broadcast of an abbreviated 2021 Saints basketball season from Marcus Pavilion tonight. Just as they did a day ago, the Saints welcome a familiar opponent from about 60 miles up the road to the Twin Star Parquet tonight, the Seattle Pacific Falcons. We'd, of course, like to welcome in any Falcons fans tuning in this evening. As always, it is so great to have you along for the broadcast as well. We will talk matchups here in just a bit, but first, let's download what happened last night between these two teams. You know, you follow sports long enough and you're sure to hear that familiar refrain of a game characterized as a tale of two halves. Well, last night's game may well have established a new standard in such contests. In fact, it might have even broken the mold. It was the Saints who came out firing right out of the chute last night, quickly staking themselves to an early 16-8 lead. Newcomer Thompson had it flowing early, and then his teammate stepped in and took it from there. The Saints connected on their first 6 shots of the game and continued on a torrid pace throughout the balance of the first half, shredding the Falcons at both ends of the floor on their way to a surprising 40-19 lead with about 2 minutes to go in the first half. But the Saints, well, they let off the gas just long enough before the break for SPU to take advantage, and they did just that, closing the half on a 10-2 run of their own, and that sliver of daylight was all that the Falcons needed in the second frame, and the boat race was on. After managing just 29 first-half points, they retooled their approach and ripped off 62 points in the second frame, shooting a staggering 70% across the game's final 20 minutes on their way to a 91-81 victory. A stunned Saints team could only watch as a game that once seemed so perfectly in hand wound up spinning out and into what had to be a very frustrating defeat. After all, you don't get many chances to take down a top-tier program like the one they've got at Seattle Pacific. And when you do, you gotta give them a little bit of that Cobra Kai energy. You just got to roll with that no mercy swagger. So, Austin, the big questions tonight are, number one, did you like that Cobra Kai reference right there? Pretty timely, am I right? And two, what kinds of overnight adjustments do the Saints need to make tonight in order to give themselves a chance to be the ones to finish off their opponent here tonight?
Well, Jeff, I'm a little bit scared because last night you got my first line of my story. Now tonight you got the show I'm going home to watch after the game. So, you know, I don't know what you're doing.
It's a doozy.
Yeah, so you're clearly tapped into my emails or something. But no, for St. Martin's, they, in my opinion, they won the first 18 minutes of the game. They were absolutely in control. And then the 22 minutes after that, that was all Seattle Pacific. It was a very lopsided in those two. There was really, you could feel right there at the end of the first half, momentum had hard switched over to the Falcons with those back-to-back three-pointers to end the half. And the momentum just carried on. The Saints did a good job. We talked about it in the broadcast. They did a good job responding early in the second half, knocking down some threes to kind of, stem the tide a bit. But there was just too much offense on the floor. And you look at Seattle Pacific, they come into tonight with not 4, not 5, 6 players in double digits. That's a very unselfish team. They spread the ball around. They're looking for not a good shot. They're looking for a great shot every possession. The Saints, again, 24 hours, how do they adjust to that offense and try and slow down the Falcons like they did in the first 18 minutes of the game?
Well, it won't exactly be the All-Valley Under-18 Championships inside Marcus Pavilion tonight, but let's hope it's just as dramatic and just as exciting. We'll take our first break here on the Saints men's basketball pregame show. Once we return, we'll take a look under the hood of this new-look Saints team and see what Saints head coach Aaron Landon is working with in his second year on campus. You are dialed in to the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show on the GNAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes, for all of us.
And welcome back in for the Saints men's basketball pregame show. As we noted before we went to break, this is year number 2 under Saints head coach Aaron Landon. Although it feels weird to say that, given that just 3 teams in the Great Northwest Athletic Conference have scheduled games to date, and only 10 games appear on the Saints schedule as it is currently structured. His second year here brings with it another fresh batch of faces and new personnel. The Saints welcome 5 new players, 4 transfers, and 1 incoming freshman, not to mention 1 new assistant coach. Austin, you spend a ton more time on this campus than I do, and you've had an opportunity to be around these guys a whole lot more than me. Let's start with those four transfers. Tyke Thompson, Seth Coddington, Goy Wang, and Ty Velasquez. What do you know about them, and what types of contributions to his program do you think Saints head coach Aaron Landon expects them to make?
Well, Tyke is in a special situation because he got to be here for the last semester in 2020.
Almost like a gray shirt.
Yeah, exactly. And so he got to be a part of the team, not necessarily practicing and stuff like that, but he got to be around the team, be around the culture. He understands and was able to fit in kind of day one because he was ready to go. And so Tyke Thompson, we know what he can do on the court. He's a very special athlete, great basketball player, and really does look to be, one of the future building blocks for Aaron Landon and company. But, the other transfers, we haven't got to see much of Seth Coddington as he was out at that Seattle U game. Got to see a little bit of him last night. His numbers should increase as we kind of go on, just as he gets more and more into that game form. Had to miss a couple weeks. He's a very talented guard, played at a very high level in the JUCO down in California, making it all the way, if I recall correctly, to the Elite 8 of the JUCO state tournament, which is, there is no better state tournament in the JUCO level than California's, and so made a very deep run in that. Ty Velasquez, we saw what he could do last night.
Sure did.
He's a scorer, and he can play all around on the court, high intensity, coaches love having him there. And then Goy Wang, he's just kind of in a special situation of he is one of the most important pieces in that zone because he has so much length. He can play up on the perimeter. He can play down low. He allows Aaron Landon to kind of mix and match. Him and John Moore in that zone really give the Saints a different look. So there's a lot there for sure. And then we have a newcomer as well in Josh Camper. Won't see him tonight. Wasn't in last night as well. I'm sure he's watching on the broadcast right now. But, Josh Camper, he's going to be another good player for the Saints. Got some minutes against Seattle U. So, there's a lot of talent. It's just getting that talent together under one thought process and ready to go.
The Saints head coach Aaron Landon has one of the youngest teams in the GNAC this year, and this shortened season won't be much different. The big difference this year is there are just, of course, 3 GNAC teams with games currently scheduled, and all 3 have rosters dominated up and down by players who aren't due to graduate for at least another year. And even those who will graduate this spring still have an opportunity to play another year thanks to the NCAA granting them an extra year of eligibility thanks to the pandemic shortened season. We'll talk about that throughout tonight's broadcast and, of course, throughout this limited engagement season as well. We'll take another quick break. Keep it right here, folks. You are dialed in for the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show on the GNAC Digital Network. And welcome back into the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show. It's time now for a quick look at the Saints' opponent tonight. So last night's win was the Falcons' first on the season after dropping their first two at home to Division III Whitworth last week. So far, Falcons head coach Grant Leap hasn't gone very deep into his bench, but you know, that's largely due to the limited availability among some of the players on his squad. Now, just 7 players have seen significant time on the floor, 6 of whom account for all but 12 of the Falcons' 239 points so far this year. And as Austin mentioned in that first segment, all 6 of those players are now averaging double figures in scoring through these first 3 games. But make no mistake, folks, this team is enormously talented, largely due, in fact, that their 2 best players, Devontae Moffitt and Henry Cavill, talked about them last night. Let's do it again. They're both very likely to be in the conversation, not just for first-team All-GNAC if this was a normal season, but they'd both probably be in the running for Conference Player of the Year if all teams were playing this season. Now, neither of them quite played at their best yesterday, and their team still posted an impressive win nonetheless. Now, that's due in no small part to the dead-eye outside shooting last night of senior marksman Sharif Khan, who connected on 6 of 8 threes to account for all 18 of his points. And how about this? The brilliant and sudden emergence of Kelton Samore, a redshirt freshman whose collegiate career began at Division I American University. In just 22 minutes last night, this 6'9" dude had it all flowing, scoring 25 points on 10 of 12 shooting from all over the floor, in the post, in the mid-range. She even mixed in a 3 to go along with a team-high 10 boards. Oh, and the aforementioned Devontae Moffitt and Harry Cavill, they may have combined for just 19 points on the game, well off their combined average of 36 coming into the game, but they found other ways to contribute, between them accounting for 14 of the team's 20 assists. So, Austin, they might not be deep right now. And don't forget, they've been without last year's GNAC Freshman of the Year, Shaw Anderson, who still is yet to suit up in a game for them this year. But make no mistake, this Falcons squad can play, and they can beat you a variety of different ways. This team appears to have hit the reset button on their season last night, and now look out, because they're certainly hungry for more.
Well, Moffitt and Cavill, like you said, yesterday didn't have their greatest games, and you go out and shoot 70% from the floor in the second half, and you put 91 up on the board, despite not having your top 2 scorers at 100% efficiency. That's a scary thought for the rest of this region, in all honesty. And so, no, Sharif Khan, he was the one who kind of kept the Falcons in the game in the beginning with his 3-point shooting. And then some more got going, started putting points up, what I said, a quiet 25, if that's possible. That's what it was like. He just continued to score.
Yeah, it's because he made it look so easy. It just never looked like there was that much effort coming out of him, but then you look up, he's 10 for 12 from the floor.
Exactly, and that's exactly what you're asking for out of players like that. Guys who are able to capitalize when the moment is theirs. And the Saints did a good job of taking Moffitt and Cavill out of the offense. That opens up rooms for other guys to step up. Those players did, and that's why Seattle Pacific was able to come away with a W last night. Tonight, I think we're going to see a little bit more early offense, though, from Moffitt and Cavill. They're good offensive players, and they're going to get right at it.
On the other side, the Saints returned 4 starters from last year's team. That's Marky Adams, Alex Schumacher, DeMonte Malloy, and John Moore, along with 2 other returners, Alex Clinton, who's currently injured and not suiting up, and Marcus Linker as well. Who among them will be in the starting lineup here tonight? Well, we'll let you know on the other side of this break as we get set for tip-off. This has been the St. Martin's men's basketball pregame show. Tip-off between the Falcons and the Saints coming up.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
For today's basketball action, featuring the Falcons of Seattle Pacific and your Saints of St. Martin's University. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise, remove your hats, and join us as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
And welcome back in. We're just moments away now from tipping things off once again. 2 nights in a row. Time to run it back. Falcons and Saints set to do business all over again. Same starting lineups from last night for either team, but let's go ahead and set the stage for you anyhow. 4 guards and 1 post in the starting lineup again for the Falcons. Number 1, Zach Paulson, a 6'4 sophomore out of University Place, joined in the backcourt. But number 3, Sharif Khan, the 6'1 senior out of Bellevue. Number 13, Devontae Moffitt, the 6'2 junior from Spanaway. And, of course, number 4, Harry Cabell, the 6'6 senior from Kaiser, Oregon. They are joined up front by number 14, Mehdi El Mardi, the 6'8 senior from Rabat, Morocco. And for the Saints, again, same starting 5 as last night. In the backcourt, number 0, Alex Schumacher, the 6'3 sophomore from Vancouver. Tyke Thompson, the 6'7 redshirt sophomore from Salem, Oregon. Number 13, Goei Wang, a 6'5 junior from Aurora, Colorado, by way of Trinidad State Junior College. Number 22, John Moore, a 6'2 junior who played for head coach Aaron Landon at South Puget Sound Community College. And number 32, Marky Adams, the 6'9 senior from Forks. So, Austin, same starting 5. We're just going to roll it out and do it all over again. What do you say?
Yeah, I mean, flashbacks, right? 24 hours ago. For me, the 2 minutes is going to be important to see how do the Saints respond. Seattle Pacific won the final 2 minutes of the first half. They won the first 2 minutes of the second half, and that's what helped them get out and run away with that game in the second half. How does the Saints come out here in the first 2 minutes? Are they able to lock in defensively? When we saw the Saints ticking on offense, it was because their defense was stopping Seattle Pacific and allowing for early transition opportunities for the Saints.
And for those of you tuning in tonight, don't forget to check out some of the new features we have on the broadcast this year, namely the chat feature, which allows us to interact with you throughout the game. Now, we didn't do such a hot job of checking it last night, but please forgive us. Not only was last night's game our first broadcast in almost a year, but it was our first one using this newfangled technology. So we're as new to this as you are. Please bear with us as we kind of do our best to muddle through it and get the hang of it. But going forward, I promise we're going to try our best to keep up with you in that chat. So feel free to interact with Austin and Jeff throughout tonight's game. We're set to go. Saints in the red uniforms this evening.
Yeah, how about
the
that?
Falcons in the home whites. We are underway as Adams controls the tip, taps it back into the hands of Schumacher, and we are underway. Saints moving it right to left on your radio dial. Lang hands it off for John Moore. One-handed pass across for Marky Adams. Now Schumacher kicks to the corner. Moore drives, gets into the paint, spins towards the basket. Lefty layup up and in. And the Saints are on the board first on a spectacular move to the basket. Moore just attacks and connects. Saints drop into that familiar zone defense. They will be in it throughout tonight's contest as long as Marky Adams is on the floor. Forcing a turnover there. Here's some early offense in transition. Alex Schumacher pulls up for the mid-range jumper, and the Saints with the first 4 points of the game.
Well, exactly what I was talking about. Saints locked in defensively, gets them out in transition, and Schumacher, heads-up play, had the defender already in the lane, just pull up for the easy jumper.
Cabell in the high post. Now they kick to the corner. Here's something that head coach Aaron Landon was hoping not to see, and he's so mad about it, he calls the early time. Oh, never mind. I thought he called the timeout.
I thought he did
second.
as well.
It's just that shot was so true out of the hands of Sharif Khan that the net hung up on the rim. But that's exact. So I did have a chance to talk pregame with Coach Landon. He really wants the Saints to work really hard to cut down on those passing angles that allowed Seattle Pacific to get off in that second half in particular yesterday. And Khan picking right up. Remember, he shot 6 of 8 from 3, connects on his first one here tonight. Adams walks into a 14-foot runner, feathers it up. It rolls over the lip of the rim and trickles in. 6-3 our score. Another hot start for the Saints.
Yeah, something about that corner 3 that you want to look for if you're a Saints fan. Is it a bounce pass or is it a direct pass to that outlet? If it's a direct pass, it leads to shots like those much more easier for the offense.
That time, Zach Paulson connects from the opposite corner in front of the Saints bench, equalizes. So a hot start here for either side. 6 points apiece, not even 2 minutes gone by.
Yeah, I was wondering to see, limited rest, how would offenses come out? Well, right now, it looks like the legs are just fine.
Straight man-to-man defense from the Falcons. Schumacher guarded by Moffitt. Crosses over, now we'll pull up from 3. Looks short, and it is. Grazes the front of the iron. Rolls out of bounds. Last touched, however, by Seattle Pacific. And we've got our first sub of the game. DeMonte Malloy comes onto the floor for St. Martin's. Goy Wang takes a seat. So 20 seconds on the shot clock. Schumacher to trigger. Finds Tyke Thompson, his first touch of the game. Crosses over on Cowell. No look pass to the corner for Schumacher. Back to Tyke Thompson, who had drifted out to the opposite corner, and he'll drain a three. And once again, the net hangs up on the rim. I'm getting confused by these early whistles, thinking these coaches have seen enough, but it's just that the shots are so good in this game, the net doesn't want to come down.
Well, right there, the Saints, they used that 3-ball last night to get out to that early lead. Good to see Tyke Thompson already feeling it from beyond the arc.
Cavell backs it out. Adams comes all the way out of the zone to pick him up at the top of the key. Blocks his shot, but Cavell is fouled on the drive, and he'll head to the line. So red-hot shooting from either team. Only one missed shot to start. These teams have combined 6 of 7 from the floor. Seattle Pacific connecting on both of their shots, both of them threes. Saints so far 4 for 5 from the floor and 1 for 2 from deep. Cavell, a pretty consistent free throw shooter, knocks down the first.
We talked about it a little bit in the, off the camera. How weird is it to be calling a free throw, right? Kind of seems we're the only 2 people talking in the gym. I almost feel like we need to go into a, golf like the Masters mode and start whispering it in.
Yeah, it does get awfully quiet in here with no fans to make noise, especially when the opponents are shooting free throws in here. You got to be very aware of how loud we're being when guys go to the line in this empty gym. We miss you guys. We really wish you could be here with us. Malloy on the drive, leaves it short. Rebound Falcons, back they come. Moffitt sets up Cavell, another 3 on its way. That one bounced off the front of the iron, and the long rebound to Malloy. Races ahead, his pass slips out of his hand. Schumacher had a lane. It was going to be an easy deuce. Back the other way. Here's Moffitt in transition. Has his shot blocked by Marky Adams. Ball rolls out of bounds. Adams was able to corral it. Cavell pokes it away. It will go back to the Saints, but another block for Marky Adams. He had 3 last night, and that might be 2 in this contest already. Adams will get a blow. Now, again, with Marky Adams out of the game, Austin, this is an opportunity for the Saints to try out a couple of different defensive looks. Whenever Marky's on the floor, they'll pretty much be in zone 100% of the time, but with Ty Velasquez now stepping onto the floor and the Saints going with a much smaller lineup, it gives them more versatility defensively. We might even see a little backcourt pressure, which is we seldom see from the Saints. We'll see how things play out.
Yeah, something that Coach Landon and I talked about, and exactly what I thought was going to happen. The moment Marky Adams comes out of the floor, who's on for SPU? It's Samore. He just had a great game when Marky Adams wasn't out there. Something that Landon talked about, he wants to see the Saints do more, is face guard Samore and try and eliminate that basket in to Samore so deep.
Spectacular, strong offensive rebound from John Moore, is able to fling a pass to the corner. Velasquez does the rest, cashes home the 3, all set up by the offensive rebound from John Moore. Moffitt dives to the hole, and he gives the defender a shove in the back. So an offensive foul called against Moffitt. That one was clear as Christmas. He's coming back down the floor talking to the referee about it, but that was a pretty obvious foul from our vantage point. And it brings us to a stoppage in play. Wow, what a pace we're off to. Just 4 minutes into this game, and our score, St. Martin's 12, Seattle Pacific 8. Buckle in, folks. It's going to be a fun one. Come right back on the GNAC Digital Network.
NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
5 different Saints have already scored in this game, and we're just 4 minutes into this thing. 12 to 8 hour score. Saints coming right out of the gate, piping hot yet again. 5 of 8, 62.5% from the floor. They've also connected on 2 of 3 threes. None perhaps more impressive to me anyway than that last one from Velasquez, fresh on the deck. John Moore just rips that rebound away from the much, much taller Kelton Samore. Just hustles a pass to the corner, sets him up for the three. Loving what I'm seeing out of John Moore so far in this game.
Yeah, he's kind of the Mr. Glue on the defense and on the boards. He can do just about anything. He can plug and play at just about any position on the floor, something that Coach Landon had talked about. Saints fans will remember Rhett Bearlocker, what he was able to do as a guard and get down low and rebound. Good to see right there John Moore using that athleticism to get around some more and go get an offensive board.
So glad you invoked the name of Rhett Bearlocker. Hope you're tuned into the broadcast tonight, Rhett. We miss you, buddy. Malloy for three. That one a little bit too strong. Kelton Samore with an easy rebound with no one standing anywhere near him. And it's Moffitt to handle. Thompson helps on defense. Beautiful pass beneath the basket, is slowly making his way. Creeping along the baseline goes Peyton Richardson. Little used Peyton Richardson on the floor. He has not contributed much at all so far this season. Remember, we told you all but 12 of their 239 points coming from those 6 players. And once again, it's Ty Velasquez picking up right where he left off yesterday evening. Remember, Ty Velasquez had double digits in the second half yesterday. Kind of kept the Saints on life support in the closing moments of the game. Spectacular performance from one of those 4 Saints transfers. Active hands right there. He strips the ball away from Moffitt with some help from DeMonte Malloy. And back come the Saints. Head full of steam for Velasquez. Gets it to Tyke Thompson, and he's whistled for the offensive foul. You know what I don't like about that call is it seemed to me that Thompson was already in the air when the defender established position. It could have gone either way. The defender was definitely standing perfectly stock still by the time Thompson came down, but it looked to me like Thompson got into the air before the defender got to that spot on the floor. In any event, it is an offensive foul. Not a terrible call, not a great one. It does give the ball back to Seattle Pacific. They trail it 15-10.
Right there, if you're Seattle Pacific, the defense is, starting to lock in a little bit more out of that media timeout. Now let's see what they can draw up on the offensive end and get some of this momentum back on their side.
Samore in his mustache put the ball on the deck, hands it off for Kahn. They reverse it into the hands of Richardson. Now Cavill looks inside of the high post it goes. Starts his move on Adams, does some more. Adams able to rally back from behind, blocks the shot over the top. Velasquez early offense. Misses a three, gets it back, races to the rack. A lot of contact, no call. Now Moore for three. That one a little bit strong. Weak side rebound, some more, but it's ripped away by Velasquez. No look pass for Adams. Raises for the two-handed pack. Hustle play once again from the Saints. Keeps possession at their end, and Adams pays it off with a huge punch. 17-10 Saints, their biggest lead of the game. What a play for St. Martin's. Active, just flying around everywhere. Look at Malloy getting active, throwing himself across the floor.
Yeah, and there's that hustle play again, Jeff. Marky Adams, another big-time dunk. We saw one out of him early in the first half last night. Again, hustle never stops. It's going to get – it may not show in the box score 100%, but it's something right there that coaches see on film, and they understand the value a player can bring on the court.
Paulson can't find a man. Now into the high post for Cavill. Sets up Richardson on the drive. Travels with the basketball. That was a tough call. I didn't see much of a travel there.
I think our angle was maybe on that backside, but to here it didn't look too that bad.
More good defense, however, from St. Martin's. Possession and a 7-point lead. Checking in for the first time tonight is Seth Coddington. He handles for a moment. Velasquez dumps it off for Adams. Elbow extended. Faces up for the moment. Now hands it off to Malloy. Skip pass to the corner. Nearly intercepted. They get it back into the hands of Adams. Wave it off again. Another offensive foul called against the Saints in the paint. That might just be Marky Adams being a victim of his own size to a certain degree. I think referees are a little bit more want to blow the whistle against a player of the stature of a guy like Marky Adams in a situation like that. Doesn't mean it's the wrong call.
I think in Cavill, just high IQ play. He knew where that ball was going before it went there. He shifted over early and was able to get himself in a good position.
Well, he's absolutely a high IQ player. Never shuts it off at either end of the floor. Harry Cavill. By the way, at some point tonight, we got to talk a little bit more about the relationship between Cavill and the Saints' Tyke Thompson. Those two growing up not far from one another. Kaiser and Salem, of course, kind of twin cities like Lacey and Olympia are. At the other end, we got whistle. We have basket interference. What are we calling here? I believe we do have an offensive goaltending call there.
Yeah, that's a correct call. For the Saints, though,
by the way, it was Zach Paulson connecting on that three. That brings the Falcons back within 4 at 17-13.
Yeah, for the Saints, and a foul right there away from the basket. That's just Devontae Moffitt there using his speed once again to get past the defender. You know, for the Saints, you got to be happy with how you're starting this game. Once again, it's not the start you had last night by any means, but it's still a great start, great response by the Saints. Again, Seattle Pacific shot 70% in the second half, and the Saints doing a much better job on the defensive end. But, 47% from the field. Saints still want to try and bring that number down a bit.
Khan from the short corner again, and he buries it. Another three for Sharif Khan. 8 threes now in these 2 games here in Marcus Pavilion the past couple of days. More on the drive. Stops on a dime, kicks to Malloy. Adams comes out to set the screen. Now Malloy on the drive. Whistles a pass to the corner. Velasquez for 3. That one just does rattle out, but Malloy cleans it up on the weak side. Offensive putback from Devontae Malloy.
And Malloy was one of the best rebounders for the Saints last year, only to, of course, Marky Adams.
Yep.
And so it's something that he can bring to the table off the bench this year in these early games. Is he's a great rebounder, and those opportunities, second chance points are critical against a team like Seattle Pacific.
Falcons having a little bit of trouble spacing the floor. Now they find some more in the high post. Spins on Adams. Shot is away, and it'll roll in. Good looking move once again from Kelton Samore. Just patiently working it down. Here's his teammates from the other end of the floor calling out that the shot clock was set to expire. Just took his time. Just did work himself free of the defender. And he draws Seattle Pacific back within 1. 11:16 to play. We've got a stoppage in our action. Saints by 1 on the GNAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
Well, after that hot shooting start for the Saints, they have cooled off just a bit. They were 5 of 8 to start this game. Since then, just 3 of 9 from the floor. Now 8 for 17, shooting 47% for Seattle Pacific. They're starting to pick it up. They're 6 of 9 from the floor, paced by the early offense. Once again from Sharif Khan, he hit 2 threes in the early part of the game to keep Seattle Pacific kind of within shouting distance in the first half yesterday. 2 more threes to kick things off in tonight's game. He's one of the guys that the Saints are going to have to do a better job rotating out on in this zone defense.
Yeah, it's something that you're going to have to rely on help defense. And one of the ways we talked about it a little bit earlier in the broadcast was, kind of fronting up. And what that means is a smaller guard is going to be positioned on him. And so instead of playing back behind because you're too small and maybe not strong enough to hold him back, backing you down, you're going to play up front and you're going to get up, making that lob pass have to come up over. Yep. And on that lob pass, that allows a defender on the backside to come rotating around. And then now you've trapped them underneath the basket and you're hoping to get a takeaway right there. So it's something to watch for with the Saints and how do they match up against the Falcons' bigs.
Coddington runs it up the floor for St. Martin's. Velasquez handles. Starts his drive. Cut off for the moment. Now looks for some help. Finds it in the form of Schumacher. He'll raise for 3. That one rattles off. Adams after the board, but it comes down in the hands of El Marty back on the floor for the Falcons. Paulson for a moment. Now Moffitt works his way across the top of the zone. Surveys. Sort of flatten things out. Now into the high post comes some more. Got sort of caught in midair for a moment. Was able to hand it off. A near travel. And it is a travel. El Marty. The spin move and extra step cost him. So turnovers weren't much of a factor in last night's game. Could be one here tonight for sure.
I think as you see the legs start to get a little more tired, especially in the second half, you're going to see a few more balls dribble off the feet, kind of go out of play, a little more sloppiness. But so far, a lot of high intensity. Teams are locked in despite little rest. Big time screen from Malloy to free Velasquez. Kicks it back out for Schumacher. A lot of contact with El Marty, no call. His shot falls short. Falcons bring it ahead. Some more from 14. That one rattles off. And Malloy clears it for St. Martin's. Long pass ahead for Adams, actually makes its way nearly into the basket. And now Moffitt looks for some help. Soft spot in the middle of the zone. Kelton Samore takes full advantage and gives Seattle Pacific their first lead of tonight's game, 20-19. Quick timeout called by Aaron Landon. And this will be a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it here. So Kelton Samore, a kid who played so well last night, just bursting onto the scene, sort of introducing himself. And what an announcement it was. 25 points in 22 minutes, 10 of 12 shooting. And just like that, Austin, he's got 7 more points tonight, 3 for 5 from the floor. Yeah, and he plays smart. He's not taking any bad shots. He's not just letting one fly from the corner, really. He's getting into soft points in the zone, and that's why he's connecting at such a high rate, is he's getting himself in a position to succeed, and it's a credit to the coaching staff of SPU being able to find what is working for them and with his offensive game.
It will be interesting to see how the rotations begin to work for the Falcons as they get more healthy in that front court. Remember, they're playing without 3 guys for this series. Adil Lalji, Philip Fullerton, and Shaw Anderson all out of tonight's contest, as well as last night's. So those are 3 dudes that stand 6'6", 6'7", and 6'9", respectively. So this is a team with a lot of front court depth. Right now, Kelton Samore establishing himself as a real force within that rotation. He's a guy that you're going to probably have to keep giving minutes to if he continues to play as well as he did last night and so far in tonight's game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good problem to have if you're Seattle Pacific.
Embarrassment of riches, really.
He took the words right out of my mouth.
That pass intended for John Moore, deflected out of bounds. Keep it at the Saints' end with 9 seconds on the shot clock. 9:16 to go here in the first half. Falcons lead it by 1. Schumacher to trigger. Loops a pass. Over the top for Malloy. Starts his drive on Cabell. Pulls up in front of him. Misses everything. Cabell tracks it down. And Devontae Moffitt rolls off the high screen. Defers to Cabell. Looked inside for a moment. They reverse it back between the circles for Moffitt. Not much doing. Plenty of time on the shot clock, however. Into the high post again. El Marty nearly traveled again, was able to gather the ball. That's why he didn't travel, was the ball was still sort of bouncing around off his fingertips. Collects it, gathers, shoots, scores. 3-point lead for the Falcons.
Yeah, some good interior passing for the Falcons on the last few possessions. That's right now what's getting the Saints trouble in that zone, and maybe we might see a man-to-man here pretty soon, I think.
Goy Wang gets loose for a moment. And more on the drive. Few lefty dribbles. Works his way all the way to the rim and lays it up and in. John Moore flashing some explosive abilities here this evening. A dude with all kinds of talent. Actually kind of more of a deferential player, but picking his spots and making the right decisions. Schumacher on the other end just sort of gets caught in his own feet, going a little bit too quickly. Ball rolls out of bounds. And that will give it back to Seattle Pacific. Sharif Khan and now Sion Blackman onto the floor for the first time tonight for the Falcons. He handles here. Khan looks inside. Cavill flashes to the high post, nothing doing. Now they get it down to the baseline for El Martin. Skip pass back for Kahn, sets him up for three. That one well short. Rebound Moore. Saints with numbers. Running the other way is Moore. Gets it to Wang. Gets all the way to the rack. Lays it up. No good, but Marky Adams cleans it up. Flying in for the two-handed putback jam. Marky Adams running the floor. Love to see that. Cavill bluffs it a corner three, now drives. Fades away from 13 feet and connects. What a beautiful move and shot from Harry Cavill.
I mean, I don't think we've said anything bad, and I don't think you can about this player. I mean, he's such a high IQ player. He's got so much talent. I mean, you never want to see that, though.
Yeah, it's Devontae Moffitt. Slowly gets back to his feet. It's good to see him back up on his feet, so let's hope he's okay.
Well, let's go ahead and look back at that breakout for the Saints, and you can't see it here in the replay, but Tyke Thompson is over in the corner. That's what kind of drew the defender away, opened up that lane, and then the Saints are able to finish with that Marky Adams dunk.
Timeout on the floor with 7:04 to go here in the first. Seattle Pacific leads at 24-23 on the GNAC Digital Network.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
So one thing that we mentioned, we briefly touched on it. Let's expand on that just a little bit. The relationship between Harry Cavill of the Falcons and Tyke Thompson of the Saints. These are a couple of guys who have known each other, played against one another for a long, long time. Now, Tyke is a little bit younger than Harry Cavill, but these are two guys with a history of past. They're good friends. They text one another. Talking to Coach Landon, he talked a lot about the relationship between these two guys, and you can see they want when Thompson's on the floor tonight, he wants to give Cavill everything he can. There's a little something to show. I think it's certainly a friendly rivalry, but let's keep a particular eye. And you see Tyke Thompson back on the floor right now and drawing Cavill, at least for the moment, at the top of the zone. But let's definitely keep an eye on those two and see how what they bring to one another throughout the rest of this game.
Yeah, two players that could easily score 20 points and play good defense. Kind of the building blocks for each team.
Good help defense there from John Moore. Shot clock winding down. Some more able to get off a three. Cavill's putback won't go. And it's Schumacher leaking out for the Saints. Seattle Pacific gets back on D, so the Saints will reset and sort of run their stuff. Thompson picked up right here by guess who? Harry Cavill. Not much doing. Dumps it off for Moore at the elbow.
Cavill's just not giving him an inch of room on any passing lane either. But John Moore, once again, down low. Just putting in a lot of work.
Absolutely fantastic stuff so far in this game from John Moore. By the way, Marcus Linker on the floor for the first time tonight for the Saints. He did not log any minutes last night, but he is out there matched up opposite Kelton Samore for the moment in that zone. Moffitt makes his move. Floats up a fluttering shot from 13 feet, but knocks it home. Look at Devontae Malloy when it gets into the air, just hang and float. Knock that shot home. What a special player he is. Here's Tyke Thompson getting all the way to the rack, taking off from outside the paint and still able to get all the way to the rack and flush it home. Oh, Austin, give me a replay on that.
Oh, I already got that one dialed up, Jeff. That's going to be fun to watch again.
At the other end, it's back-to-back buckets for Devontae Moffitt. He's starting to catch fire for this Falcons team. Remember, neither he nor Cavill got off to a start in last night's game at all. It took almost 30 minutes for either of them to score. Now, they did wind up with a combined 19 points. They came in averaging 36 through the Falcons' first two games. Still played huge roles in the game last night and certainly contributed to that victory. Here's Wang challenging some more up to it. Swats that shot away, actually gathers in his own block.
That was a good play by the Saints. It got them the look they wanted, just some more with an even better defensive play.
Moffitt tries to get cute, gets in trouble instead, able to recover and get a pass into the hands of Cabell. Now they rotate it around for Sion Blackman's three. That won't fall. Some more well over the back of Marcus Linker. I don't know how you don't call over the back right there.
All right, let's go ahead and look at that last play there from Tyke, and you just see the rotation there. Defense wasn't around to get set in time, and that's just an easy dunk for Tyke and the Saints.
Incredible athletic play, though. Gliding in, tough angle to get off the floor and get all the way to the rack, but he was able to do it. You see what a special talent Tyke Thompson is and just how much he's going to mean to this program over the next 4 years. So a tough break for the Saints as it looked for all the world that Kelton Samore was just riding the back of Marcus Linker to keep the ball alive. Winds up tapping it into the hands of Cabell, who's now at the line for the second of two free throws. Both of those good, and the Falcons lead at 30-27, just under 4.5 to play here in the first half.
You know, Jeff, I'm an old school basketball fan. I like free throws. I like when teams convert. That's something that Seattle Pacific did really well yesterday. 14 of 15 in the second half alone.
Schumacher a little out of control on that drive. Perhaps a little bit frustrated. Winds up whistled for the foul beneath the Saints basket. He winds up sort of clipping a piece of Sion Blackman. And that now the sixth foul on the Saints. Just two whistled against Seattle Pacific.
Like you said, Jeff, last night we didn't see many fouls either. So far in this game, you know, both sides, I think we'll see a little bit more fouls as the legs kind of get tired in the second half, but so far not many free throw opportunities.
Blackman bluffs at a three. It takes one step to his left and fires one up. It's well off the mark. However, Falcons keep it alive at their end, and another foul whistled against the Saints. Falcons will be shooting a 1-and-1 when we return, as that is the seventh foul on St. Martin's here in the first half. So 3:57 to go. First half action. Falcons lead it by 3 on the GNAC Digital Network.
NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
Alex 1 for 6. And welcome back in for the final 3:57 of the first half. Jeff Lucero alongside Austin Burns, and Austin, Seattle Pacific playing really efficiently at the offensive end of the floor. They're now 11 for 21 from the floor, 52%. We talked last night about the number of different Saints players that were scoring in the first half. Such good balance across the board. I believe only 3, maybe 4 players for Seattle Pacific scored in the first half of the game. Well, tonight, sort of a flip of the script. It's very balanced scoring. All but one player who's played for the Falcons thus far is into the scoring ledger. Looking very efficient offensively, and it will be Zach Paulson making his way to the line for a 1-and-1.
Yeah, we knew Seattle Pacific, very well-balanced scoring team, 6 players in double figures coming into tonight's game. Again, you know, small sample size. You've only played 3 games, but still, they do a great job of sharing the ball. They're very unselfish, and the Saints have done a good job adjusting, and they're taking away more shots, you know, than last night when the Falcons shot 70% in that second half, down to about 43% now. The Saints still have to lock in. Here we go, final 4 minutes. How do the Saints come out?
Well, tough break for Coddington. He loses his feet. Winds up on the deck, tied up by Zach Paulson. And on the alternating possession, it will go back to Seattle Pacific. They've got some momentum going here, a 5-point lead with possession. So the Saints offense has grown a little stagnant here down the stretch in the first half. Started off so well, but now Down to 42% shooting here in the first half.
Well,
high post, some more.
Sorry, Jeff. We saw yesterday how important the last 2 minutes of a half can be as well. So for the Saints, just try and get some momentum going into that break.
Some more with it at the top of the key. Puts it on the deck. Hesitates, steps through. Might have traveled, no call. Adams bats it back into the hands of the awaiting Zach Paulson. His shot well short. Velasquez brings it the other way. Malloy, early offense, 3, no good. Whistle beneath the basket. Are we going the other way? We are. Oh, looks like that shot may have bounded off the shot clock, so not a foul. But ball technically going out of bounds there. That gives it back to the Falcons. Richardson back on the floor, as is Blackman. No look bounce pass for some more. Sets up Cavill. Great help defense. Ty Velasquez races in from behind, knocks it away, but unable to keep it from rolling out of bounds. Was after it. Keep it at the Falcons end. 12 on the shot clock.
It's one of the rare times we've seen some more match up against Marky Adams here in these 2 games.
Works on him here.
Right there, that's Marky Adams getting the better of him.
And it's ball out of bounds, so a stout defensive performance on that possession for the Saints, and that's exactly what they need for the final 2:46 of this half.
I'm not going to say I'm going to trademark this saying here, but the Saints defense kind of reminds me of a Venus flytrap. They want to get you down low, so then Marky Adams is right there to get that shot blocking opportunity. Kind of that Venus flytrap look.
He will devour you. Coddington on the drive, head full of steam, muscles a shot off, high off the glass, up and in. That was an impressive take from Seth Coddington.
We saw one last night out of him, his first bucket in a Saints uniform as well. He's got a lot of strength out there at the guard position.
He sets up at the top of that Saints zone. Falcons patiently work it around. Moffitt with it. Bounce pass inside for Cavill. Make it Paulson. He backs out. Swings it back for Moffitt. Behind the back dribble. Can't get a shot off. Great defense from the Saints. Cavill forces his way over and out of bounds, and it's a shot clock violation. Another spectacular defensive stand for the Saints. That's 2 in a row, Austin. And this is exactly what you want to see in the closing moments of the first half if you're a Saints fan.
Yeah, that was the best defensive possession they've had all last game and this game, in my opinion. Marky Adams, what Seattle Pacific did was they rotated the big out once they got him on Marky Adams to try and suck him out of the middle of that zone. Marky did a great job coming up over the top to reset himself. The Saints rotated around beautifully. That's going to make Aaron Landon very happy watching that on film.
And on the other side of things, perhaps Grant Leap a little frustrated with the performance of the offensive end from his squad. He will summon Mehdi El Mardi back from the bench, so it will be El Mardi back on the floor coming out of his timeout for Seattle Pacific. So a little bit more size down low for the Falcons for perhaps the rest of the first half. We'll see.
I'd like to see the Saints here in the final 2 minutes try and give Tyke Thompson another look at the basket. Only 5 points here, only 2 shots for him. He's connected on both of them. It doesn't look like Tyke is actually going to be in, as he's already there on the bench. So,
well, he's got 3 fouls in the game. So
oh, fair enough. Okay.
Tyke Thompson been very limited so far in the first half. He's played 9 minutes, but when he picked up that 3rd foul, he went to the bench. So it's unlikely we will see him for the rest of the half. Coddington brings it up, and it's whistled for the offensive foul.
And look who it is again taking the charge for the Falcons. I mean, they're just so smart, but Harry Cavill, he's always in the right place at the right time. He knows where the ball is going to be 2 seconds before it's there.
That is the 3rd offensive foul called on the Saints here in the first half. All 3 of them player control. And that is frustrating if you're a St. Martin's fan, no doubt about it.
I mean, you got the drive you wanted out of Coddington for sure, because he was able to just get past his defender, and it was a good outlet pass too, just a little bit out of control. He needs to make that pass about a step earlier so he can solidify himself and get out of the defender's way.
8 fouls now on the Saints, just two whistled against the Falcons. Cavill comes out to get it, guarded closely by Wang. Down low goes for El Mardi. Backs down on Adams. Thought that shot was going to roll in. It doesn't. Rebound, DeMonte Malloy. Back he comes. Crosses over on Cavill. Now drifts toward the wing, hands it off for Wang. Coddington with it. Spins back, now Velasquez looks inside. Starts his move on Paulson, now backs it out, 12 on the shot clock. $1:15 to go in the first half. Velasquez hesitates, accelerates, goes to the rack, no good. Malloy the offensive rebound. That shot's blocked out of bounds by Cavill. He goes after it, but it trickles off his hand. Last touch by the Saints. Boy, the defensive pressure applied by the Falcons the last 6-7 minutes of this game has been really impressive. They have suffocated the Saints at the offensive end.
And if you're getting tired of us calling Cavill's name, I mean, he just does it all. And now there's Moffitt. There's the big 2 for him right there. Back-to-back punches, and now the lead up to 6.
This team just does such a good job of staying connected to one another. And now their biggest lead of the game at 6, 35-29. Saints could go 2 for 1, but they'll have to go quick. And at this point, the opportunity to do so is diminishing. Look at that move from Coddington as he gets all the way to the rack. Shot will not fall, but Coddington heading to the line to shoot 2. That's just an unlucky break for the Saints. And one would have mattered, would have meant so much to them right here as they look to narrow the gap heading into the halftime break.
I mean, even just, though, 2 free throws, and if you can get a defensive stop, it's a 4-point game. I mean, that's anyone's game. Obviously, last night, a 21-point lead was still anybody's game. So, I mean, realistically for the Saints here, this next defensive possession is going to mean so much. You need to go into the break feeling good about your defense, having that momentum. And again, it's been a good first half of basketball for both sides. Both sides. I think if you ask both coaches going into halftime, they'd feel pretty good about the performance of their team so far.
That was a spectacular move getting into the paint. Seth Coddington, you know who he reminded me of right there? Little B.J. Stanley.
Oh, there we go.
Think about that. That was a spectacular. He just exploded to the rack. I mean, he blew past the defender. That was an amazing move. I love seeing something, that kind of burst out of a guy like Coddington. And an offensive foul whistled against Devontae Moffitt.
Yeah, I think there was some good acting there by Velasquez, but the Saints fans, they'll take that call.
Well, this is exactly what the Saints needed. Shot clock off for the final 19 seconds of the first half, and the Saints now with their own opportunity to tack on a couple of extra points heading into the halftime break. Grant Leap doesn't like it, but he can't be too disappointed in the way this game's been officiated. That is still just the 4th foul whistled against the Falcons in the first half. Coddington handles, couple of screens to either side. Heads in the direction of Malloy, rolls off that. Fighting through is Sion Blackman. Now the Falcons do have fouls to give, so that's actually a pretty smart foul. That's just the 15th foul. They've got one more to give if they want to use it. Now the Saints will have to go to work with just 5 3/10 seconds remaining. Remember, though, Falcons can foul again without sending St. Martin's to the line. Will they opt to do it? Coddington gets the 3 off it, glances off the front of the rim, and that will do it for first half action. We got off to a very fast pace and things slowed down a little bit, but St. Martin's still right there in this game, hanging tough with the always stalwart Seattle Pacific Fountains. Your score at halftime, Seattle Pacific 35, St. Martin's 30. Fans, will take an extended break here at halftime, but please rejoin us at about 12 or so minutes time for a look at some first half stats and a look ahead to second half action. The Falcons and the Saints on the GNAC Digital Network. And fans, welcome in for the St. Martin's men's basketball halftime show. Jeff Lucero here with Austin Burns. And Austin, I'm slowly catching up to this new stuff that we've got going on. So I just took a quick gander through the live chat. Very good to see so many folks just hanging out with us here this evening, rooting on their squads. We've got a pretty good equal balance here of Falcons and Saint fans out in the chat. So hello to everybody out there. We got some folks from Hawaii hanging out with us.
Oh yeah, always great to have an aloha in the chat. The weather, I'm assuming, a little bit nicer than what we're dealing with here, but
only imagine.
Hey, we got some basketball happening in Marcus Pavilion. That's all I care about.
Yeah, speaking of basketball in the Marcus Pavilion, let's go ahead and get you caught up on some halftime stats. First for Seattle Pacific, as they are our leaders at the moment, 35-30, our halftime score. Falcons wind up shooting 12 for 26 from the floor in the first half, 46%. It was from three where they did their most damage, though. 5 for 11. That's 45% out there. Made all 6 of their free throws as well. Several players chipping in. Balanced scoring across the board. Looks like 8 of the 9 players for Seattle Pacific that saw the floor wound up scoring in that first half, led by the 7 points apiece from Kelton Samore and Devontae Moffitt. For the Saints, started off so hot, but kind of cooled off after that. Saints now shooting 39% from the floor in this game. Connected on their first couple of threes, but have cooled off since then there as well. 3 for 11 in the first half, 27%. Leading scorers for the Saints, 6 points apiece for John Moore, Marky Adams, and Ty Velasquez. Tough break for Tyke Thompson. He did pick up that third foul, was limited. So a couple of discouraging stats mixed into that first half performance but for St. Martin's. But here's the thing. You played so much of that first half without one of the guys who's quickly establishing himself as one of your very best sort of premier scoring options in the game when he's on the floor, that being Tyke Thompson, saddled with those 3 fouls. Alex Schumacher as well off to a slow start. He's 1 for 6. DeMonte Malloy also struggling from the floor. He's just 1 for 7. But overall, you're down 5. You played pretty solid defense. You just haven't shot the ball all that well, but you are hanging tough with a very, very good, versatile, and dangerous Seattle Pacific team.
Yeah, there's 2 ways to look at this, Jeff, and I'm going to come with a glass half full approach.
All right.
So, Saints, you're only down by 5. And like you said, your leading scorer in Tyke Thompson hasn't seen the floor much. Schumacher, your second best leading scorer, he hasn't been shooting the ball well. So your 2 main options really haven't been there in the first half, and you're only down by 5. The other flip side is for Seattle Pacific, they're sharing the ball so well, and doing what they do best. However, despite playing great in that first half, you look at the scoreboard, you only got a 5-point lead. Now, granted, we saw what they can do in a single half of basketball. They're a very good team. So, how do the Saints come out here early in the second half? Do they try and get the ball in the hands of Tyke Thompson, and can he avoid that critical 4th foul?
Yep.
And Tyke Thompson will be on the floor to start, so it's the same starting 5 for the Saints. And early turnover, 7 seconds in, and a turnover for the Saints. So not what Saints were hoping for to come into the second half with.
Well, John Moore whistled for the travel, got his feet going before he put the ball on the deck. But John Moore, by the way, my unsung hero in the first half for the Saints. 6 big points, 4 boards as well, and a team-high 2 assists in that first half, and so many hustle plays to keep possessions alive for the Saints. I loved what I saw out of John Moore in the first half of this game. Saints come back out in that patented 2-3 zone. Wang at the top of it, trying to bother the passing angle. They do get it inside to El Marty. His shot will not fall, and John Moore there to collect. Look at that, his 5th rebound of the game. Malloy had a team-high 6 in the first half. Is this another offensive foul? It is. The 4th charge of the game called against St. Martin's. Now, to be fair, John Moore definitely did get caught midair in that one. That one, a pretty obvious call. But 2 turnovers on Moore here to begin the second half.
Yeah, if you're at home, though, watching at home, just watch John Moore. Just watch what he does on the defensive end. It's not stuff that's going to show up maybe a ton on the box score, but he moves so much around on the floor, covers so many different guys.
Cavill in the soft spot of the middle of that zone. Catches the pass, turns, wheels up and up, knocks it home. 37-30 our score. comment about these red unis for St. Martin's. They do look pretty sharp, I got to say. Another turnover for the Saints as Schumacher unable to connect in the post with Marky Adams. The Saints a little slow start. Here's a nice effort in it. All right, I'm not quite sure what I just saw. Did not look like much of a foul there. This looked like a Seattle Pacific player kind of fell over in the lane. Nevertheless, Schumacher whistled for the foul, and just like that, 2 more quick fouls on the Saints.
Yeah, definitely not a great start to this half for St. Martin's for sure. And now some great ball movement once again from the Falcons.
That was pretty slick, got to say. These dudes can move the ball around the perimeter. However, the shot won't fall. And the Saints now look to get it going at the offensive end. They reverse it back to the short side corner. This is Moore on the drive, loses control, able to gather it. And Thompson will reset the offense. Goes to work on the much smaller defender, Sharif Khan. Gets some help. Now it's John Moore. Steps back, has it taken away by Cavill. Able to regain control. And a jump ball is called. That will give it back to the Falcons on the alternating possession. Saints got the ball to begin the second half.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff. I don't think the Saints have taken a shot officially here in the second half. I'm pretty sure 0 for 4 turnover-wise.
I cannot and will not correct you on that because I believe you are, in fact, absolutely correct. Wang checks out, back on the floor comes Ty Velasquez. Saints stay in the zone with Adams on the floor. Cavill calls for it in the high post, turns, faces up on Adams, now backs him out. Couple of lefty dribbles. Here comes John Moore to help, seals him off. Now Cavill maintains that pivot foot, spinning around, tries to find somebody. Now it's Paulson on the drive along the baseline. Frees himself of John Moore. Nice little move. Just enough contact there to not get called for the foul. And at the other end, Cavill gets the steal, tries to save it in bounds, but did step on the sideline before he was able to get it in. That was such a nice play from Paulson. Good body control. Did bang into John Moore for the moment, but not enough contact to get the call. Steadied himself midair, made the shot along the baseline, and gives Seattle Pacific their largest lead of the game at 39-30. And Aaron Landon needs a timeout. 17:28 to play. This is in fact just a 30-second timeout.
Usually a first timeout of second half results in a media, and that's why the team's left the floor. I was drawn up ready for an ad here, but
well, maybe it was a referee's timeout. Not quite sure what happened down there. It's sometimes hard to tell with the headset on, and since we're so much further away from up top here, unable to catch any sort of chatter that goes on with the referees. So we are not stationed at the scorer's table. It is St. Martin's basketball. Velasquez handles, guarded by Kahn. Makes his way right to left across the top of the key. And Schumacher comes to get it. He'll reset things between the circles. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Saints got to go. Schumacher backs his way into a three, lets it fly, leaves it short. Rebound on the weak side, hauled in by Paulson. Quickly ahead to Moffitt. Drops off a pass between his legs. Back to Paulson. Now into the corner. Con three on the way. Just does roll out. Cavill after it, as is Adams, and a foul called. This one goes against the Saints as well. Marky Adams whistled for that one.
Yeah, now you're going to see some more substitutions. Seth Coddington back on the floor. Now John Moore. I think those are good substitutions right there. One, John Moore, just so much versatility on the defensive end, and then I like to see Seth Coddington, what he can do on the offensive end of the floor.
Moffitt finds Kahn wide open, looking at three, and he buries it. Seattle Pacific now with their first double-digit lead of the game. And Landon will call timeout. So it's my guess then, Austin, the Saints were not charged for a timeout during that last stoppage, because I doubt that Landon would burn 2 timeouts in the span of about 30 seconds on the floor. So we'll just go with the assumption that that was, in fact, an official's timeout for the moment. This one, however, very much called by the Saints as they suddenly find themselves staring up into a 12-point hole. 16:38 to go in this game. Falcons starting to feel it on the GDAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
Second half action is underway here in Marcus Pavilion. The good news for Seattle Pacific, they've got it rolling right now. Bad news for the Saints, they've yet to score here in the first nearly 3.5 minutes of the second half. It was a 35-30 advantage for the Falcons heading to the halftime break. They have scored the first 7 points of the second half. Saints have had trouble taking care of the basketball. I believe 4, maybe even 5 turnovers here already in the first 3 minutes and 22 seconds of action. So again, the Saints having some trouble to get going here in the second half, same as last night. Now they find themselves looking up at a 12-point deficit.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm no expert in basketball, but when you turn the ball over more than you shoot it, it's hard to put points up on the board. Saints just need to do a better job. But there's Tyke Thompson. There's the answer. Just get the ball in the hands of your best scorer.
The thing I love about Tyke Thompson scoring there, too, is he's a guy who struggled in the first half, was saddled with those 3 fouls, but comes back into the game, and as soon as he gets a touch, he's stroking it. That was a beautiful shot, set up nicely. Play likely drawn up, and Thompson makes the play at the defensive end as well. Racing in from the weak side, read that the whole way, sort of playing free safety out there. Races across, picks that pass off, turns it the other way for a 12-yard interception.
Well, and what that was set up by was John Moore face guarding Cavill down low. Marky Adams gets I don't know how he tipped that one back in, but he did. But back to that defensive play, that was John Moore. He set that up, that forced an over-the-top pass that allowed the help side defense to come in and wrestle it away.
Moffitt crosses over, gets into the lane, sidesteps the defender, gets all the way to the rim, lays it up, won't fall. She bangs it off the bottom of the rim, but draws the foul and may well be heading to the free throw line when we return. 15:33 to go, 42-35 your score.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
Well, credit the Saints for bouncing right back. 5 straight points have pulled them right back into this game. They still trail 42-35, but the 3 from Thompson, the near miraculous drive from Coddington. Man, oh man, that guy's really starting to feel himself a little bit out here, isn't he? He's finding his way. Newcomer Seth Coddington has not had a lot of opportunities to play for the Saints yet. But Austin, you told me before the season began, Seth was one of these kids that much was expected of him coming in. He's a scorer. You can see some of this ability. A couple of these moves that he has made getting to the basket have been very impressive. That kid has a first step that can get past just about anyone. And honestly, he's the quickest guy that we've had here since BJ Stanley, no question about it.
Oh, absolutely. I think we're just tip of the iceberg, too, with him. Again, he played at a very high level of competition, originally out of Florida, then goes to California. I mean, you can't really get much better than Florida and California in terms of competition. Now coming up here to the GNAC. You know, for me, I think he's just tip of the iceberg. We're going to see more and more as this year goes on what he can do on the floor, both offensively and defensively.
Well, he did pick up his second foul in that sequence right before that last stoppage in play. And that does send Moffitt to the free throw line. He connects on the first of 2 foul shots, and we're going to see Marcus Linker on the floor. He got some burn in the first half. Did not play last night, but logging minutes here tonight. He spells Marky Adams. Saints going small here. Tyke Thompson, their tallest player on the floor at 6'7". A little bit of backcourt pressure. Moffitt comes out to pick up Coddington. Now they just sort of drop back. Thompson guarded by his old buddy Harry Cavill. Saints reverse it up top. Coddington handles, drops it off for Linker. Pass bothered for the moment by Paulson. 12 on the shot clock. Devontae Malloy sealed off. Now it's Thompson. Needs help. 5 on the shot clock. Malloy pulls up for 3. That one bangs off the back iron, and Tyke Thompson whistled for the loose ball foul. My goodness, 5 fouls on the Saints, none on Seattle Pacific. Look, I'm going to stop short for a moment here and say that but there was such an incredible foul disparity in the first half, and here we're seeing it again in the second half. I don't want to get too caught up on a thing like this, but that is the 4th foul now on Tyke Thompson.
Yeah, and
that
that's
is a
the most
game-changing foul.
Yeah, Tyke's going to now be on the bench for, I mean, realistically, you kind of have to go at least 7 minutes, or if Seattle Pacific starts getting this lead up even higher, then maybe it's going to force, Aaron Landon to bring him back onto the floor. But there's a basket inside for the Falcons. And this now for the Saints. They're going to need some answers here quickly.
Certainly not suggesting that wasn't a foul. It was. It's just tough when you get whistled for 5, and they're whistled for none. No whistle blows that time as Devontae Malloy backs down on Cavill. Malloy fights his way through, gets to the basket. What a play that was at the other end for Seattle Pacific. Lob pass from Cavill. Tried to find Moffitt. Realized he couldn't get the shot off. Just a touch pass inside for Samore, who finishes. He's got it here too. Steps out of the paint. Dumps it back to Cavill. Now Paulson on the drive. Illegal screen. Nope. Another foul whistled against the Saints. This one going against Coddington again, and that's 6 fouls already. Not even 6 minutes gone by here in the second half. Still no fouls whistled against Seattle Pacific. I'm just stating facts. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, again, Saints, I think you're seeing also a little bit of tired, after last night. Remember, this is their second basketball game in 24 hours, so starting to get a little bit tired, I think, on the floor, starting to cheat a little bit with those hands, keeping them on their defenders longer. But again, for the Saints, it's really going to come down to defensively. I think they need to come up with a few stops. Here's an opportunity, kind of get some momentum off of a defensive stop.
Coddington brings it up the floor. Schumacher back on the floor. Velasquez on the drive. Malloy will try for 3 again. Still cannot find the range. Devontae Malloy really struggling from the field here tonight. He's now 2 for 11 from the floor. Moffitt goes to work on Coddington, gets all the way to the rack. His tough angled shot won't fall. This time a loose ball foul whistled against the Falcons. First foul of the second half called on SPU. They lead it 46-37. That one going against some more.
And now we're seeing also the Falcons start to go more with not a full press by any means,
just a
but
little token pressure.
Just pressure,
Just enough to keep the Saints honest, keep them from getting into their offense. A tough pass there for Schumacher. It just sort of slipped off his fingertips. Sails into the backcourt, and another turnover here in the second half for St. Martin. So Saints having trouble finding focus, finding their center. They just need to zen it out a little bit here, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, this is where, again, they're a younger team, and also the fact that we haven't gone into it too much with the whole practicing, how that works with, here in COVID times of, potting and bringing teams, slowly working them together to get them into a full team practice. So, the Saints haven't had a lot of opportunities to work, and we're seeing a little bit of that here right now. A little bit of disconnect. They're going to have to get on the same page quickly if they want to come back in this one.
Saints playing some man-to-man defense right now. Interesting. Tough shot as the shot clock winds down. More great defense that time from the Saints. They've had some really good possessions in this game defensively. Velasquez on the drive. And Schumacher bodied up by Peyton Richardson back on the floor for the Falcons. That's his first, team's second. Cavill will return. The aforementioned Richardson checks out. 5 on the floor for the Saints. It's Velasquez, Coddington, Malloy, John Moore. It's Schumacher to trigger the inbounds. He connects with Malloy. Malloy on the drive, gets to the rack, lays it in. That's much more DeMonte Malloy's game. He's at his absolute best when he can get a step on the defender, get past him, and just use that strength to work his way all the way to the 10. That's the Seattle Pacific lead to 46-39. Samore drifts out to the wing, gathers the pass. Nice look inside from Kahn for Moffitt. His 17-footer won't fall, but he tracks it down. Now a three from Sion Blackman won't fall. DeMonte Malloy clears it for the Saints. Give him 8 rebounds on the night. Malloy piling them up on the boards.
Oh, and here you go for the Saints. Now you're starting to come up with some defensive stops, getting some offense. Another bucket here really starts to get the momentum on your side. Might even be a potential timeout for the Falcons.
Yeah, Saints just need to stay connected so that they can give Tyke Thompson a little bit longer on the bench. There's Malloy for another three. It will not fall. John Moore, an offensive rebound. Fouled on the floor, and that will bring us to a stoppage in play. 46-39 our score. It'll be St. Martin's ball out of bounds when we return. So again, your score, 46-39, 11:42 to play on the GNAC Digital Network.
NCAA Division II, community engagement is an initiative at all 25 national championships because student-athletes want to give back while competing for a national title. Over the course of the year, Division II student-athletes have an opportunity to leave a lasting impression in local communities throughout the country. Whether Division II student-athletes are volunteering at hospitals, schools, after-school care programs, foster homes, or retirement villages, they make a difference in the lives of others. In Division II, we rise to the opportunity and make community engagement ours.
And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. Another good game here tonight. It's been a seesaw affair of sorts once again. We had one last night. We're getting yet another here this evening. As it stands, the Falcons lead at 46-39. We've got 11:42 to play, so still a lot of basketball to churn through here this evening in what is now our second home broadcast of the season.
Yeah,
Austin, I'm just so happy to be back in here calling basketball. How cool is this?
Oh, it's awesome, Jeff. I mean, this is what we've been waiting for so long. You know, we thought we had a game last Saturday on the women's side, and of course, you know, you have to jump through. You know, there's a lot of protocols we have to go to get games in, and you wake up in the morning and get a phone call that, you know, a 40-year-old generator across the street broke, and there's no power in the pavilion. And so the women, unfortunately, had to go up the road to Seattle Pacific and play. And real quick, I want to give a quick shout-out to one of our women's basketball players, Mallory Vavola. It's her birthday today.
Oh, no kidding.
So happy birthday, Mallory.
Well, Schumacher on the tough drive is able to gather his own miss after it again. Keeps it alive. Here's John Moore hustling after it out near the timeline. Referee stop play to reset the shot clock. So Schumacher, they drew a play up for him during the timeout. Was unable to connect, but great hustle. Couldn't connect on his putback, but knocked the ball back out into the hands of John Moore. And the possession will stay with the Saints. Malloy comes out to set the high screen for Velasquez. Velasquez crosses over. Starts his drive, spins, looking for some help. Now he'll just take it right to the rack, lay it up and in. And the Saints back now within 5 at 46-41. Look at Ty Velasquez with the heavy play. Defenders just wound up sagging off him. He said, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, the Falcons played great defense, took away all of his options, but no one was down low, and he just went right around his defender. Huge basket for the Saints, and you can feel momentum starting to shift now.
Look at Schumacher with the defensive play. Just cheats on the pass. Jumps it, takes it away. Now he's on the drive, gets to the rack, lays it up and in. Saints within 3. Schumacher doing it at either end of the floor, and he's drawn the Saints right back into this game. Schumacher, who struggled quite a bit in that first half. Remember, just 1 of 6 from the floor, really starting to find himself.
And here it is again. Schu just hesitation, quick first step, able to get around his defenders. That's when Schumacher is at his best, is when he is able to just attack at the rim. He's so athletic, he's so quick, he gets around his defenders. That's what I love seeing Alex Schumacher do, and that's why he's the second leading scorer on the Saints.
Schumacher now just 2 for 10 from the floor, but that last layup was a thing of sheer beauty. Saints able to force a turnover at one end, work their way quickly up the floor. Schumacher took the ball, knew exactly what to do. 2 dribbles, gets right to the rack, and brings the Saints back within 3 points. Remember, they led early in this contest by as many as, I believe, 8 points. Seattle Pacific has enjoyed as much of a 12-point lead of their own, but right now it's just a tenuous 3-point advantage for the Falcons. They have possession. Cavill inbounds to Devontae Moffitt. A 2-man game, little horn set, and it's taken away by Schumacher again. Back-to-back steals for Schumacher. He's on the drive, pulls up just inside the free throw line, leaves it short, but more after the rebound. It winds up having it tapped away by Malloy. So 2 Saints after it. Neither one of them can corral it, and back come the Falcons. Beautiful bounce pass inside, sets up the cutter streaking down the lane. El Marty takes the pass from Cavill.
That's a 4-point swing right there, Jeff. I mean, again, you had Saint on Saint, and unfortunately, otherwise Moore, I think, had an easy layup, but there's an easy layup for Moore right on cue.
Set up perfectly on the no-look pass from Ty Velasquez. And John Moore still quietly stitching together a very nice, very efficient and productive game. Falcons by 3. Kahn looks inside for El Marty. Little help defense comes over. El Marty able to steady himself, puts a dribble on the deck, gets to the basket, wave off the basket, fouled on the floor. He will head to the line. Saints now at his 17th foul, so the Falcons in the bonus the rest of the way.
Yeah, and the Saints have had a lot of success on the defensive end when they're able to face guard that low post player and get a pass over the top. It's allowing the Saints to be able to combat the larger size of the Falcons. I mean, right now Mark Yams is back on the floor because Seth Coddington picks up his 4th foul. But for the Saints, they were playing 5 guards out on the floor. There's not a lot of height out there for SMU.
Well, you mentioned it. That is a tough break for the Saints because that's now 2 players with 4 fouls with still 9.5 minutes left in this game. Coddington and Tyke Thompson both on the bench and likely will be for a little while longer.
Yeah, typically you see 4 fouls. Players start coming back in around the 5-minute mark. We'll see what happens here in the next few minutes.
Schumacher on the drive. Defender just stood there, I guess, trying to draw the charge. Schumacher sidestepped him, gets to the rack, lays it in. Back to a 3-point game. Back and forth we go. Kahn looks inside. A little bit of trouble spacing for the Falcons. Now Cavill, entry pass for Moffitt. He'll back it out. Adams sort of trailing him around, and another foul call on the Saints. This one whistled on DeMonte Malloy. So El Marty heads back to the line for a second consecutive 1-1.
Number 3, DeMonte Malloy.
You know, how this game started, especially after yesterday's 91-81 affair, how this game started, it looked like, okay, much more offense, but you can tell the legs are giving out a bit on both sides. Both sides are very tired. So also you're seeing the Falcons shooting free throws with still 9 minutes here to go. You know, when you start getting tired, you start making, you're a little bit slower in the defensive end. That leads to more fouls. And that's why I think we're going to see a lot of free throws down the stretch, that's for sure.
It was sort of a similar situation for the Falcons in their first 2 games of the season. They've hosted Whitworth in a pair of back-to-back games. The first game was a high-scoring affair. I believe the final score was right around 95-83, but that second game was a much more game, kind of like this one, a grinded-out, more defensive affair. Final score was right in that 63-59 range. So here's Schumacher once again getting loose, but he leaves the shot short. Rebound, Paulson. He'll steer it the other way for the Falcons. Gets more on his heels, gets all the way to the rack, and another foul called on the Saints. That is 9 fouls on St. Martin's, still just 3 in the game, in the second half rather, on Seattle Pacific, and that's foul number 3 on Marky Adams. So fouls really becoming an issue for the Saints.
Yeah, and I think we're about to see Seth Coddington check back in already, and it's just because you kind of have to. And another thing to keep note of, Alex Clinton out for tonight's game.
Needed to talk about that.
Yeah, in the warm-ups. And so Saints really only have 4 players off their bench right now, and you got 2 of them with 4 fouls, and that's why Seth has to return to the floor earlier than I'm sure Landon would like.
Paulson good on both free throws, extends the Falcons' lead back to 7. 8:20 to play. Velasquez dumps it off in the high post for Moore. Gets it back, little give and go. Foul on the floor, this one whistled against Kahn. Ball out of bounds to the Saints with 20 seconds on the shot clock. 8:15 to play. Not a lot of flow to this second half.
No, not at all. Not like we saw.
Choppy affair.
Yeah, not what we saw just 24 hours ago. Yeah. That was an offensive clinic. There's Schuh for 3.
That was a beautiful out-of-bounds play, all set up by the Saints. Markey Adams, they whistle the pass out to the near side wing here. Schumacher comes out to get it, sets his feet, and rings up a 3. Huge shot for the Saints. Huge. 54-50 our score.
Well, and the emergence here of Schuh on the offensive end is allowing the Saints to keep Thompson there on the bench and not risk him getting that 5th foul. It's keeping them in the game.
Coddington almost committed his 5th foul. Wild shot, won't fall. Moore able to recover it, hands it off to Schumacher, and back come the Saints. Moffitt, I could hear the contact through my headset. There's not much sense in arguing that one. I could hear the slap of skin on skin through my headset. That was an obvious foul that will get called every time you reach like that. It's the 5th foul on the Falcons, the 3rd now on Devontae Moffitt. It brings us to a stoppage and play at the 7:33 mark. Falcons remain in front, but now it's just by 4. 54-50 on the GNAC Digital Network.
Every time a student learns something new, makes a discovery, or helps a team, it's not just good for that student, it's good for the whole community. At St. Martin's University, we know the impact a well-prepared graduate can have on the world. That's why last year, we extended more than $15 million in scholarships to our students. Because the more we invest in them, the brighter the future becomes for all of us.
(54-50) our score in what is the 4th game of 2021 for Seattle Pacific and the 3rd for the Saints of St. Martin's. Austin, you ready to have your mind blown?
Oh, I'm ready
now?
for that.
Check out this weird stat. Not a single player in this game is in double figures, yet 10 players have at least 8 points. 4 players have 9, 6 players have 8. 10 players with at least 8 points in this game. No one in double figures for either team with just about 7.5 minutes to play in this game. That's kind of weird, huh?
Yeah, especially with the Falcon. I mean, I think there's, 9 players coming into today's game who average double digits. I don't think we're going to be hitting that mark anytime tonight. But, again, what it credits to is both teams are sharing the ball well tonight. They're moving the ball around. Maybe the shots aren't falling as much as normal for these two sides, but they're playing unselfish, both sides.
And we'll see what Aaron Landon drew up. And it was a look for Ty Velasquez. He takes the pass at the free throw line, starts his drive, works his way inside. Catches a whole lot of contact. A lot of ball on that, but there was contact inside for sure. That's the 6th foul now on the Falcons. That was the 2nd foul of the contest on Sharif Khan. Fouls now starting to pile up on the other side. Remember, 6 fouls were called on the Saints in the second half before a single foul had been called on Seattle Pacific.
Well, free throws are going to be the key down the stretch, I think, for either side. Seattle Pacific will have an opportunity to stretch this lead back out with them. Saints have an opportunity to stop the clock and get points on the board, but it's a one-possession game.
Well, he did exactly that right there as Velasquez good on both. We are nip and tuck. 54-52 with just over 7 minutes to play. Paulson handles opposite Coddington. Coddington fights through the screen, hands it off for Blackman. Now Cavill for three. Rolls off Velasquez. The rebound, and the Saints can tie or take the lead. Quickly ahead. Velasquez works his way all the way to the rack. Tough shot, won't fall. Adams, the offensive rebound, lays it up and in, draws a foul. Adams ties the game and can give the Saints their first lead in quite a little while. Not quite sure how long it's been since the Saints were ahead in this contest. But the putback, yeah, we can call it a putback jam.
Yeah, I mean, it was
he threw that down.
Almost like a little bit of a Blake Griffin there, kind of throwing the ball in, dunk style. But, hey, you know, Marky Adams, again, he's so strong down low, and there it is. There's example number 137 for you. He really is a very strong, very gifted player.
Well, the important part is he does, in fact, tie this game. We are all squared away at 54. 6.5 to play. Cavill rolls off with some more screen. Now Paulson on the drive. Met at the apex by Adams, no call. Shot rolls off. Coddington the other way for the Saints. Coddington, wild shot won't go, and Adams called over the back. That's the final 1-and-1 of the contest for St. Martin's. In fact, that is the 10th foul. Check that. That was the 10th foul. I hadn't put it up on the board yet. So that is foul number 10 on the Saints. More importantly, foul number 4 on Marky Adams. So now 3 players, Coddington, Adams, and Tyke Thompson, all with 4 fouls apiece. And the Falcons shooting 2 shots the rest of the way.
I did like that drive, though, by Seth Coddington. Just go right to the rim and attack in transition. Falcons did a great job getting back and clogging up the lane, but that's exactly what you want to see. Falcons, the momentum, everything on the ropes, and the Saints just took it straight to the rim.
Cavill, good on the first free throw, sizes it up, lets it fly, knocks it down. 2-point lead for the Falcons. Malloy back onto the floor for Adams. John Moore comes out to get it. Now Malloy sizing things up. Reverse it into the hands of John Moore. 15 on the shot clock as Malloy goes to work. Gets around some more, lays a shot high off the glass, and ties the game again. Spectacular move from DeMonte Malloy, taking it right at and into the chest of the much taller Samore. Alex Schumacher with active hands at the other end once again jumps the passing lane, knocks the ball into a teammate's hands, and the Saints can take the lead again.
Yeah, Blackman did a nice job to knock that down because John Moore was going to the basket wide open. There was no safety to cover him. That was all the way to the end zone.
Velasquez with the pump fake. It's the defender in the air. Doesn't go anywhere. Saints work it back around into the hands of Velasquez. He'll try for 3. I thought it was going down. Some more. Oh. Flies in, taps the ball out of bounds. So we'll keep it at the Saints' end with a fresh 20 seconds on the shot clock. Making his way back onto the floor is Devontae Moffitt. Zion Blackman takes a seat after a short turn through the rotation. Coddington to trigger. Finds Malloy. Now Schumacher works his way around the defender. Foul was called on the floor long before the contact between Schumacher and Paulson. Good little show of sportsmanship as Schumacher helps Paulson back to his feet. Might have got a piece of Paulson in the nether regions. There's a foul on the floor, whistled against Moffitt. That's a big deal because that's his 4th, and he will step back out. So a quick blow for Blackman as he is forced back onto the floor. Relegated to the bench is Moffitt with his 4th foul. So it's a 1-and-1 for Alan Schumacher.
Well, now it's leading scores for both sides. 4 fouls on them. That one's short. Saints had an opportunity to take their lead first time since early in the first half, if I recall correctly.
Schumacher unable to earn the bonus. Let's see what the Falcons dial up. Content for the moment to work it around on the perimeter. Blackman needs help. Reverses it. Now Paulson thinks about a drive. Kicks to the corner for Kahn. Kahn on the drive, a little out of control. Faded away from about 10 feet. Shot won't fall, but Malloy unable to corral it. Knocks it out of bounds. It will stay with Seattle Pacific. And at long last, we see Tyke Thompson make his way back onto the floor. You nailed it, Austin. You said it about the 5-minute mark is about when we might see Thompson back in the floor. And here it is, 4:43 to play. And Thompson and those 4 fouls make their way back to the court.
Well, and the Saints were able to not only stay in the game, they managed to tie the game without Tyke Thompson on the floor. And so, that's a very encouraging thing for Saints fans. But again, Seattle Pacific, it'll be interesting to see how long does Grant Leap keep Devontae Moffitt now on the bench with his 4.
Shot clock starting to wind down for the Falcons. Paulson on the drive with 3 seconds on the shot clock. Shot off the glass, won't fall. Last touch by the Falcons, so a good defensive stand for the Saints. And we are still knotted at 56. 4:23 to play.
I mean, Jeff, could you ask for anything more in the second game at home? 56-56.
I sure was hoping this one would, in fact, come down to the wire. And, folks, it looks like that's exactly what we're going to get. Malloy, it worked for him last time, goes right back at some more again. Undaunted, challenges the 6'9" post. And that is the 3rd foul on Kelton Samore. Samore got off to a great start in tonight's game. He had 7 points in the game's first 6 or so minutes. Now just with 9 points in this contest. He's kind of struggled to find the range. 4 for 10 after going 10 for 12 last night.
Yeah, another name that we really haven't called much since the beginning is also Kahn. He's 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. He 6 of 8 in the game yesterday. So he's really been connecting. The Saints have done a good job taking him away out of the offense for the Falcons. But that might be another piece for SBU to look to go to, that corner 3, and see if they can't get that rolling here in the final few.
Malloy makes the first, no good on the second. Velasquez after it, called for the loose ball foul. So a 2-shot foul upcoming for the Falcons.
Yeah, and I know as much as you want to go get that ball right there, but you can't be giving 2 free throws up the length of the court. That's one of those where you hate to hear this, but almost maybe step back because, again, double bonus. You can't be giving up 2 free throws that far away from the basket.
Big difference in this game right now, Austin. The Falcons are a perfect 16 of 16 at the line. Saints just 4 for 8.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier in this broadcast, how good the Falcons are at the line. That's right now why this game is tied up, purely is because of their free throw shooting ability.
Make it 17 of 17. As Samore makes the first. One more coming. They missed just 1 in yesterday's contest. They went 14 of 15 at the line.
And
even if he'd missed that one, that was going to be a lane violation on Thompson. He had a foot out there.
I don't know if there's any announcer's jinx on their free throw shooting ability. I mean, they're just locked in.
And with that second made free throw, the Falcons retake the lead. Nice move from Malloy, everything but the finish. Leaves the shot well short. Rebound Falcons. Under 4 to play now. Little horn set once again from the Falcons. Saints now in this man-to-man for the last several possessions. Long 3 on the way from Kahn. Thought it might miss everything, but instead a weak side rebound for Cavill. He sets his feet, toes the line, knocks down a huge 3 for the Falcons. My goodness, Cavill in the right spot at the right time, just backs his way behind the 3-point line and buries a corner 3. Thompson nearly loses control, able to regain it. Resets to John Moore. Schumacher comes out to get it. Malloy sets the screen. Blackman fights through. Schumacher looking for some help. Dumps it off inside. John Moore goes to work. Kicks it back out for a long 3 on the way from Thompson. That one off to the right side. Another offensive rebound for John Moore, and he's fouled. It will be John Moore heading to the line once we return for a 1-and-1, or was that the 10th foul? It was the 10th foul. So John Moore shoots 2 on the other side of this break. Fans, it's a 4-point game. Do not go anywhere. Come right back for the final 3 minutes of this one. Going to be a beautiful finish on the GNAC Digital Network.
Opportunity to me means doing the things that will make you a better future. I always dreamed of graduating from college. So being the first one in my family to graduate, it meant everything my parents sacrificed was paying off. Having an athletic scholarship for the University of Mount Olive was key for my success. I had the opportunity to not only get an education, but be able to develop as an individual.
(61-57) our score. 2:53 remains in this thing. And also one of the things that we were just talking about off air, what a defensive performance it's really been turned in by both of these teams. The Saints have been doing a really good job of guarding Seattle Pacific shooters. SPU now shooting just 39% from the floor in this game.
Yeah, what a flip from yesterday's script, right, Jeff? Saints, as the game went on, their defense couldn't find an answer for the Falcons' offense, and that's what led to the 91 points. Tonight, Seattle Pacific starts hot, but the Saints adjust and they creep down that average as the game goes on, finding better defensive answers, and now you've held the Falcons to way below their season average. So again, defense for the Saints has improved as the game has gone on. Their offense is going to need to get going, and free throws are a great way to do that.
Both teams now in the double bonus. And the Saints' free throw woes continue. Now just 4 for 9 at the line. Contrast that against 18 for 18 for the Falcons. They are 32 for 33 in these two games from the free throw line, the Falcons. As Moore unable to connect on the second. Adams gets down, rips down the offensive rebound, but has the ball immediately taken away. Tough break for the Saints, and they've had a few of them here in the second half, but undaunted, they still are only down 4 points. Marfin just guarded closely by Schumacher. Cabell just sort of saunters his way out of the lane. Now bounces a pass to Kahn, who reverses it into the hands of Moffitt. Schumacher draws the assignment. Little Euro step for Moffitt. Draws some contact. Shot won't go, but Moffitt back to the line. There again, the Falcons are perfect tonight. 18 for 18 at the stripe.
Yeah, Shu just brought his hands down a little bit too much, and again, second game in 2 days. Your arms kind of drift when you're cutting across the lane. But now Moffitt here with a chance to get the lead back out, but there's the first miss for the Falcons. I didn't know if we were going to see a miss here in this game from them.
Well, there it is. 18 for 19 now are the Falcons. Still a preposterously good figure. Yeah. Second one does fall. And the lead extends to 5. Under 2.5 to play. Coddington back on the floor. He handles here for the Saints. Thompson now picked up by Cabell. Malloy at the free throw line. Works his way down the paint with the left-handed dribble. Switches back to the right to lay it in. Another strong take from DeMonte Malloy.
Well, I like that he didn't get discouraged from his early shooting woes, and he's come up with some huge baskets down the stretch for the Saints. John Moore nearly with a steal. Saints, you can tell they're locked in defensively.
Malloy comes all the way out to guard some more, 25 feet from the basket. Under 10 on the shot clock as Paulson goes to work. Now Malloy, 30 feet from the basket. Gonna have to tee something up quick. Steps back, 18-footer on the way. Rattles around, rebound, Ty Thompson. Into the hands of Ty Velasquez. Crosses midcourt in front of us. Back to Malloy.
I like when Malloy gets the ball down on the free throw line instead of out on that three-point arc. Because that quick first step from him, that's more of an impact when you're on the free throw line.
Buck 15 to go, 10 on the shot clock. Velasquez rolls off the Malloy screen. Velasquez steps back, sizes up a three, got it! Oh my goodness, Ty Velasquez ties the game with just over a minute to play. Oh my. Shades of E.J. Boyce a few years ago with the step back three against Western Washington. Help me out if you remember that shot. That one was just sinister. And Ty Velasquez doing it all over again at a very similar spot in the game. Wow, what a shot. That one took some moxie, and Ty Velasquez did not flinch.
I was about to say, the Saints don't need to go for a three. You don't have to try and tie the game here. I'm glad I didn't say that. Ty Velasquez, again, he's really been an impressive player these last 2 games, and even at Seattle U as well. His 3 games, he's done a good job. And so for the Saints, again, it's going to come down to the defense. You know you're going to get an opportunity. Seattle Pacific will more than likely, I expect, to go within the first 15 seconds here, because you're going to want to have an opportunity to answer back if you're SPU.
Have the ball in your hands for the last possession.
Exactly.
I think you're right. 2-for-1 opportunity here it's a kind of a tailor-made 2-for-1 opportunity. You can work a little bit of clock, but still get a shot early enough in the possession to give yourselves at least a chance at the final possession of the game. And this one looking for all the world, Austin, like it's going to come down to that final possession of regulation.
Marky Adams not on the floor for the Saints either.
Defensive switch puts Malloy, but look at this, a breakdown and some more alone beneath the basket. And he gives the lead very quickly back to the Falcons. Velasquez at the other end. 3 nearly goes, pops out. And the rebound tracked down by Paulson, who's fouled on the floor. In the corner by Malloy. He'll head to the line. 41.7 seconds. Man, oh man, Velasquez, a wide open look in transition. Just unable to get it to fall after burying the shot in front of his own bench just a couple moments ago.
Yeah, it was a great look. So, and again, just connected. So no fault on that shot at all. That was a great look for Velasquez. But again here for the Saints, I think, you're going to have to look for a quick transition basket. Free throws here key for Seattle Pacific. Again, trying to get to that 4-point lead. And there's the first one right on cue. For the Saints, your top 3-point shooters are going to be Tyke Thompson and Velasquez. I mean, those are going to be the 2 options. Maybe kind of spread them out, one on one side of the floor, the other on the other, to try and force SPU to spread that defense out.
Well, both of those free throws thought about popping out, but Paulson able to get them to both go. Second one the most important because it gives them a 2-possession lead. Schumacher steps back for a 3. Bounds off the front rim. Sharif Khan, perhaps the slightest of stature player on the floor, rips down the rebound. One of the biggest and best rebounds, I can tell you right now, of his SPU playing career.
That's your second personal foul.
Well, it was Schumacher triggering the 3.
Yeah, he got a good look. He was able to shake off his
and
defender.
He's more than capable of making that shot.
Absolutely. And so, again, you got an open 3 look. That's what you wanted if you were St. Martin's. And it didn't take a whole lot of time off the clock. Still 26 seconds, so you're going to have multiple opportunities. But again, this really falls on Seattle Pacific. They can ice this game at the line. And, I mean, we've said it plenty of times here on the broadcast. They're good at shooting free throws.
Well, the Saints do have enough time where they can race the floor and go for a quick 2 and then look to foul. But we are kind of trickling into nothing but 3-point territory at this point. John Moore will fire away from deep. Off the back heel, Malloy gathers the rebound. Shot partially blocked by Samore, who's slow to get back to his feet after Khan is able to gather the loose ball, and a foul committed in backcourt. So just one of these 2 free throws will likely settle this one. Falcons already with a 2-possession lead. One more free throw makes it 3. It could very well do it.
I mean, we came into this series and this year expecting Seattle Pacific to be at the top of the conference. If it was a normal year, they were expected to have the target on their back once again. Could they defend, their regular season title? For the Saints, they've definitely exceeded expectations in this opening weekend. You're taking on, in my opinion, one of the best teams in the country, and they've done a great job against them, even though you're going to come away potentially here with 2 losses. Still a great showing for St. Martin's, and for Seattle Pacific, you get 2 wins to kind of help, get the momentum going back your way after 2 early losses. This is a good sign for the Seattle Pacific Falcons and for the St. Martin Saints.
Velasquez's shot no good. 2 or 3 different Falcons come down with the rebound. They dance with the ball for a moment. And the referees just give them that 2-step rather than call the travel. In any event, that will do it. Saints fight hard yet again, but come up short. 70-62 your final score. A couple of very hard-fought, hard-earned victories for this SPU squad. Equalize their record at 2-2. Saints fall now to 0-3 with this loss. Guys, we're going to step away for just a moment, but come right back. The Saints postgame show is coming up in just a moment. Hang out with us for a few more moments longer, why don't you? On the GNAC Digital Network.
Champions know how to seize opportunities. When they see moments of greatness unfold right before their eyes, they push as hard as they possibly can, and then they push harder. Because the heart of a champion never settles, never quits, and never stops giving its all. We are champions. We are Division II. We go big, we give it everything we've got, and we win. On the field, on our campuses, in our communities, for our causes, in our careers. We rise to become champions in everything we do. We are Division II, and there are no limits here. We make our time count. We set our own path. We become champions on our terms. It's time to up your game, because we're here to play and learn. But most importantly, we're here to discover ourselves, our vision, our heart, our drive, to achieve every goal we aim for, because we want to be champions at the highest level, life. At Division II, the opportunities are here. Are you ready?
And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion. Game number 2 of this 2-night engagement between the Falcons and the Saints is officially in the books. Falcons coming away with their 2nd consecutive victory here to kick off what is sort of the GNAC portion of the schedule, even if the games don't exactly count as league games. Nevertheless, Seattle Pacific earns a very tough, grinded-out type 70-62 victory. Remember, at the 7.5-minute mark, we had no players for either team in double figures. Well, a total of 8 wound up. So Austin hit the number right on the head. 8 of those players wound up scoring in double figures. In fact, make it. Oh, never mind. It was 5 players for Seattle Pacific, 3 for the Saints. Neither team shot the ball particularly well from the field. Both of them hovering right around the 40% mark for this game. Seattle Pacific at 39.6. Saints at an even 40%. For SPU, again, 5 players wind up in double figures, paced by 13 points apiece from Sharif Khan, Harry Cabell, and Kelton Samore. 11 points for Zach Paulson, 10 more for Devontae Moffitt. 8 points as well for El Marty. For the Saints, leading the way with 13 points, Ty Velasquez. 11 points for DeMonte Malloy, 10 points for Marky Adams. John Moore chipping in with 8 points and 9 boards. Alex Schumacher winds up with 9 points of his own. Well, there's 2 big storylines in this game for me. Obviously, there's the big the free throw disparity is a huge part of, obviously, I don't have to tell you, 25 for 26 on one side, 4 for 10 on the other. So SPU plus 21 at the free throw line. That will usually net you a victory. The other big storyline in this game, and I feel bad for him, Ty Thompson got 3 fouls in that first half, picked up the 4th fairly early in the second half, and was just never able to be a factor in this game. The foul trouble for the Saints became a huge factor in that second half, and it allowed Seattle Pacific to play a little freer. Now, credit the Saints, however, for playing such good defense. They just forced SPU into tough shot after tough shot. It seemed like time and again the shot clock was winding down, and SPU was just relegated to kind of chuck it from the cheap seats a little bit here and there. So Saints able to sort of work their way around that foul trouble, but in the end it was just too much to overcome.
Yeah, for me, Jeff, and I think you hit some keys right there. I mean, the free throws, we know, obviously, that's, my opinion, what won Seattle Pacific the game here tonight. The other one for me was the defense. St. Martin's defense got better and better and better as the game went on. It just, their offense was just not able to keep up enough to be able to overcome Seattle Pacific, but for me, defensively, I was very impressed, especially after the end of the game yesterday, how the Saints responded. and like you said, at times they were looking kind of down the bench and going, well, 4 fouls, 3 fouls. So, they were, had to do what they could with on the floor, and Aaron Landon and his staff made great adjustments as the game went on. And some other players came up with some big-time shots as well. Schumacher started to connect. Ty Velasquez, he's really solidifying himself in the rotation as one of the best scorers and guy we're going to see easily for about 30 minutes a game. So there's a lot of positives to take out of this if you're a St. Martin's fan. Despite 2 losses, the team got better, in my opinion, a lot from yesterday to today. And I thought they had a good showing yesterday as well. So, again, Seattle Pacific, very good team.
Yep.
When they get healthy, it's look out, West Region, because this team could be right there at the top. Azusa Pacific is really good, but man, this Seattle Pacific team's got a lot. That
is precisely what I was going to say. Let's now talk about the Falcons and the fact that they are playing so shorthanded. 3 players, all post players, unable to go these last couple of games. Adil Lalji, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that name, doing my best. Philip Fullerton and Shaw Anderson. That's 3 players that are a big part of that rotation down low for the Falcons, doing their best to sort of piece it together down there. And those guys can all play. The guys that they do rotate in and out of the post right now, Mehdi El-Mardi, Jacob Medjo, who we did not see tonight but played significant minutes last night, and, of course, Kelton Samore, the redshirt freshman who started as a D1 player at American over on the East Coast. So you're right. That's exactly what I was going to touch on. Is just if you're a Falcons fan, you've got to be so happy knowing that you're eventually going to get those dudes back in the rotation, and just how scary good can this team be once they are at full strength.
Yeah, and Anderson is such a great offensive piece. Defensively, he can be a little bit maybe of a liability at times, but he's so good offensively. And the great thing about having a team like you do with Devontae Moffitt and Cavill, they make up for a lot on the defensive end. They're very smart. We saw a lot of charge fouls called, especially in the early goings of this game, and a lot of time it was Cavill on the floor taking that charge. And so, again, the Seattle Pacific team, I don't see them losing too many more games. Northwest Nazarene is a very good squad. Sure. They'll face off against them shortly, and NNU has a win against the Division I under their belt. So
they knocked out Portland State. That's a big deal.
That's who the Saints are playing
next opponent, exactly.
And you think Portland State's going, oh no, another GNAC team? But no, I mean, for me personally, this was a huge weekend for both teams. I think they really showcased a lot. For me, Seattle Pacific showed that they're right there at the top of the region and one of the top teams nationally. For me, St. Martin's leaps and bounds. And I think this is going to be a very bright future for St. Martin's.
And one thing I was really hoping to see, and because of Tyke Thompson's foul trouble, it just was never able to materialize in the second half, was really looking forward to watching Cavill and Thompson lock each other up and lock each other down in the second half. And it was, that's what they both wanted as well, because they go back so far. These are a couple of guys that have a strong relationship away from the basketball court. They're good friends. They like each other. They support each other. They want the other to succeed, but when they're out here, all they want to do is compete as hard as they possibly can against one another, and the opportunity just never quite got there in the second half because Thompson picked up that 4th foul so early in the second half of play. That was unfortunate. I really would have loved to see them just go at it a little bit more, but them's the breaks sometimes in this wonderful game of basketball. Well, fans, that's just about going to do it for us. Austin, fill us in, though, on when our next broadcasts are coming to our brand new YouTube channel. When is our next St. Martin's basketball action inside Marcus Pavilion?
Well, unfortunately, Jeff, for us, this is our only home game for the men here in the month of January. So that is a little bit unfortunate. But we will see the women quite a bit. And so looking at their schedule here, they do hit the road against Portland on Sunday, so you'll have to watch that game. Men will be Portland State on Tuesday, so we got some Division I's coming up. But the next home game for the Saints at February 5th against Seattle Pacific on the women's side. That's next time you get to hear our lovely voices.
Well, I believe it'll just be you on that one flying
yes,
solo.
That is correct.
Unfortunately cannot make that
fans.
one. What are you talking about? That's addition by subtraction.
But no, really impressed how the Saints played. I think it's a bright future for them. And again, as long as we can keep the power on in the gym, excited to see the women play as well. They got a lot of scores on that team. So, Saints basketball definitely looking up for sure.
Well, folks, that's just about going to do it for us here on tonight's broadcast. Again, your final score, Seattle Pacific 70, St. Martin's 62. Our first 2 home games are in the books, and I tell you, folks, it feels so good to get this back, does it not? Oh, my goodness. I am just so thrilled that these teams have been able to come together and make this work some way, somehow. It's just fantastic to have intercollegiate competition once again going off on the campus here at St. Martin's. So on behalf of everyone here within that athletic department and my broadcast partner and good buddy, my chum, my main man, Austin Burns, this is Jeff Lucero signing off. Have a wonderful night, everybody. We'll see you next time. Good night.